Okay, kora rwako gi thumni officially. Kae to achako. Okay, thumbs up, nice voice sound omi tick. Sounds wate omi tick apart from the second LUO GIRL okane but is kobiro abronen. Kora rwako officially gi thumni nikech en thum mapako nyaluo. The LUO GIRL.
Salwango nyinge nyagibeno pondo manyamina wuor. Alisa luongo nyinge nyagibeno pondo manyamina wuor. Amor kaluongo nyinge nyar kindu karachonyo. Amor kaluongo nyinge nyar kindu karachonyo. Belio somo Mombasa nyadundo mama. Belio somo Mombasa nyadundo mama. Kocha kopuonjne sikul wagwe to nyithindo pako. Kocha kopuonjne sikul wagwe to nyithindo pako. Ocheo ponje manyithindo ye kod chikege. Ocheo ponje manyithindo ye kod chikege. Belidhu maniba makiwinjo. Belidhu maniba makiwinjo nyadundo. Kanyako somo gimabera inyanyanga lori nyakindu. Kanyako somo gimabera inyanyanga lori nyakindu. Jomadhiyo Nairobi boro vimos na Berdina. Jomadhiyo Nairobi boro vimos na Berdina. Jokilo duto apako ika wapo inyagawo. Jokilo duto apako ika wapo inyagawo. Kumrako ero taworo ialis wapo inyagawo. Kumrako ero taworo ialis wapo inyagawo. Edala unyakindu anyago wadagi mitimu jopako. Edala unyakindu anyago wadagi mitimu jopako. Edala uanyango nyadundo rienyo wadakati chumsuna. Edala uanyango nyadundo rienyo wadakati chumsuna. Rienyo wadakati chumbita. Rienyo wadakati chumbita. Anyango wadakati chumaseno. Anyango wadakati chumaseno. Rienyo wadakati chumyabono. Rienyo wadakati chumyabono.
mano mogi weta. Erokamano ahinya nyikwa Ramogi Jwang' moyuoro ka, kendo watimo erokamano ne Ramogi Cultural Institute for Luo Heritage Research and Education kuom miwa thuolo mar kendo ka wadwa go mbaka mar The Luo Girl, wadwa somo buk mar The Luo Girl. An host to Ouda Onle, kendo a host GK Ramoth, to oko en gi homa moro matin ma kopo no kuwinjo kowuoyo ahinya to ung'e ni en under the weather matin, but somo tibro somonwa gi nyaluo emomiyo agone thumno, nikech en nyaluowa, en aluo galwa ma bende pod nie tiegruok. Koro Omogi wuod Weta wacho ka nyako somo gi maber ahinya, omiyo koro nomor ka wa nyithi luo matindo gi somo, to kendo wach culture bende gimako matek, gidwa ng'eyo ni to wawuotho nade kata onego wawuoth nade ka wadongo, kendo gipenjowa matek ahinya ni to village migero ni wan kode, wan be wan gi portion kanyo, to wang'isogi maler kabisa ni village migero nigere ni gik moko ariyo malich ma bende manie iye kanyo, nikech wagero siwindhe to kendo wagero duol. Joluo ng'e gima ne itime duol gi vijana, to joluo ng'e gima ne itime siwindhe gi joma nyiri, gi nyithindo manyiri. Omiyo nyathi jaluo duto bedo covered e village. Wuoth biro chakre maber together. Koro koka kamano tarwako GK, to mana kaka wacho maybe samoro ok obi wuoyo ahinya, to nikech samoro del bende bedo ga manyap, to kok kamano to nyako ma wan go ma nyaluoni dwa somonwa bugni wang'eyo jogo kadibed nitie ng'ama okwongo donjo kawuono. This book was written in 1949 by a scholar called Professor Minde. He wrote some things that he saw. Some of his writings we are putting into scale because could be it was influenced. And where possible, we are also bringing it back up to speed with the current life. And so, yes, we are in learning streak, but with none other than GK Ramoth, our philosopher, who has got a lot of wisdom and input and insight in matters culture in Luo. He speaks to the consciousness of the Luo. He has got a lot of experience. He has done a lot of research, still doing a lot of research on our Luo culture. And so it is prudent that we have him always here, and we thank you, GK, for always having your time, or time for us whenever I call upon, or the Ramogi Cultural Institute, the elders call us to say, do this, and we do it. And as we will say, one to one mane jokel message, but wach maduong' ahinya gini en our cultural ambassadors man kae gi jogo mochokre kae gi. You are the most important part and the most important piece of the puzzle, because without you we wouldn't be doing it. So thank you for always taking your time. We appreciate it. We really don't take it for granted that you are here to listen to us, and to listen especially to GK Ramoth as he take us through the valleys and the hills of our cultural heritage. Thank you. The Luo Girl, koro adwa narwaki officially, but adwa narwaki officially mos jogi rwak jogi. I'm not sure. Ramoth will let me know if he can say something. If not, then it's fine. The Luo Girl will start reading. But first of all, the Luo Girl, magi jogi inemiso manigiga giwinjo duondi. So now officially, so that was just testing the mic by engineers. They wanted to know whether you're, but now greet them officially and welcome them officially. The Luo Girl, to you.
Thank you. Oimore uru nyikwa Ramogi kamoro amora ma untiere. Ageno ni uduto urio maber ne joma kopo chiewo, jogo mani kuonde mopogore opogore. Ageno ni odiochieng' maru dhi maber, kata odiochieng' maru orumo maber. Ne jogo marwako sabato, happy Sabath. Ne jogo monoya muskiti, akia kaka iwacho. Nondiki in 1949 and it's projecting the LUO GIRL as understood by Professor Ominde. In one way or another, we might differ in opinions, in our ways of kuichambua, but the end goal is one: understanding our culture, getting to know where we come from, because it's one of the most important things of living being, our identity and who we really are as Luo women in this case, and as Luos. Kakamano machiegni uru somo makawuono.
Thank you so much, the LUO GIRL. We thank you also. We can never forget to thank you for also availing yourself with clarity to read the book, The LUO GIRL, and also always having a very informed opinion and bringing in your perspective also, especially being that you are a young LUO girl growing up now. So it's very important that as we read Omiende's perspective, as we put Omiende's book into our thinking, it's so important that we have a young girl growing in the current generation who is also able to put into perspective what Ominde is saying and what she is experiencing herself. I think it's a very, very good position to be in, especially at this particular time where we are able to be confronted with two various aspects of life: a Luo girl growing up in 1949 through 1950s, and now a Luo girl growing up in 2026, the year of our Lord, in the 21st century. And I think we are blessed to do that. Otherwise, may I welcome our philosopher, G.K. Ramoth, also to have a word or two for us before we start reading. Thank you. GK, back to you. GK, winja? GK, winja? GK ok awinji. The Luo girl, winjo GK?
Owacho ni wadhi mbele, obiro bang'e.
Okay, all right. Chak somo. Chaka, kawa is fine. Okay.
Erokamano. We stopped at the introduction of modern day goods and women in business and trade and their responsibilities, especially when supporting economics in the society. So today we are moving on to women and the birth of children, customs and taboos. The customs and taboos observed by expectant mothers merely reflected the social attitude of Luo women to the birth of their children. Thus, the aims of the custom and taboos can only be appreciated in the light of a social desire for the woman to give birth without difficulty. Fundamentally, this is also a basis for the disapproval. Fundamentally, this is also the basis for the disapproval of the birth of twins, and also of abnormal deliveries. Concerning the persistence of the marital relationship during pregnancy, there is no generally accepted restriction. But while customs varies from person to person, any sexual relationship continuing after the 6th month of pregnancy is regarded as excessive. The only social stigma attached to sexual relationship continued for the greater part of this period is that it might provoke an open rebuke from the midwives or other women. Thus, while no hard and fast rule can be placed on the time of the temporary termination of the marital relationship, it is generally left to the good sense of men and women concerned. We have an image of an elderly woman with some of her food. You look at it, you can see the dressing coat, the beads, the bangles, the bracelets, and the some of the beads she's wearing on her legs, her head, a scarf, and she's balancing something on her head perfectly well. Now, the regulation of the diet. Here again, the restrictions aim mainly at minimizing the chances of the child being too big, thus rendering it easier for the mother to give birth. Now, among the foods which women normally eat, bananas are eliminated during pregnancy because of their supposed fattening effect upon the child and the danger of causing a difficult delivery. Among the most conservative women, pumpkins are placed in the same category with the additional belief that since their contents are mostly water, they have a weakening effect upon the child. Sugary foodstuffs such as cakes, sweets, sugary tea, or coffee are among the things which expectant mothers do not eat. Women believe that these foods produce babies so fat that they put strain on the mother's strength. For the same reason, the excessive drinking of gruel is prohibited, and hot gruel is especially avoided on the grounds that it could scald the baby. But while these restrictions are adhered to in principle, in actual practice, women with strong liking for the forbidden foodstuffs do not refrain from eating them. A factor of great psychological significance is the belief that LUO mothers begin to yield to the will of their babies long before they are born. Among them are some who, during pregnancy, develop a habit of eating dried mud and other peculiar foodstuffs. One baby causing a mother to eat this and the next turning her appetite against them. These strange habits of eating are attributed to the will of the expected child, and it is believed that the domination of the child over the mother, enduring through the early part of its life, begins in the period of pregnancy. Dietary restriction may also be a matter of family habit or taboo. Thus, a mother may inform her children while they are young that certain kind of food is not to be eaten by members of their family. This restriction may result from a fear of spreading certain diseases, generally skin ailments, latent in the particular family group. The restriction does not apply to others who are free from the supposed disease. When a woman gives birth to a baby, her habits in these respects do not change. A dietary restriction may also result from the instruction of a medicine man, as in the case of a woman who has had no child for a long time. During his treatment, the medicine man gives instruction on taboos and compulsory dietary restrictions. Dislike of a certain food during pregnancy may also result from personal disagreeable experience. This is also generally assigned to the will of the child. Restraints of family origin, as well as those imposed by the medicine man and acquired from personal experience, are more strictly adhered to than the traditional restrictions. We have medicinal restrictions. The list of medicines that expectant mothers may not take is a small one. Apart from the traditional strong purgatives and medicines for killing worms, modern drugs like quinine and strong European laxatives are eliminated, such measures being designed to prevent abortion or premature birth. Social relationship. Superstitions affecting expectant mothers have largely yielded to the influence of Christianity, but we find remnants of old regulations, such as those connected with sitting, still observed by women. An expectant mother is required to sit with a straight back. Neither should she put one of her legs on top of another, because it is believed that the expected child, assuming a similar position, would be difficult to deliver if a sorry. Neither should she put one of her legs on top of another, because it is believed that the expected child, in assuming a similar position, would be difficult to deliver. A person standing behind an expectant mother may also be driven away in the fear that if the person's birth had been difficult, the birth of the coming child would be equally difficult. Social regulations connected with greetings are found among the pagans, and these may result from the instruction of a medicine man. Thus, he may prescribe the length of time in which an expectant mother is not allowed to greet those whom she happens to meet on the road. Although in the family circle, a woman is not allowed to overwork during this period, conditions such conditions are such that if left to themselves, they continue with very strenuous work until the time of birth. In the past, expectant mothers stored food which they ate after giving birth. These foodstuffs might be dried meat, dried fish, ghee, and corn for gruel. Nowadays, the availability of fresh meat has made it possible to supply women with sufficient food, even although it is very expensive. The amount of rest given to an expectant mother depends on the husband's position in the society. With the poorer families, hard work continues till the time of birth. Thus, at one time, a woman called Andege took some ripe bananas to Kisumu in the morning, returned at around 2 p.m., and at 4 p.m. gave birth to her daughter Rapuoda. Guessing the child's sex. In guessing the in guessing at the child's sex before birth, the mothers generally rely on past experience. It is recognized to be very difficult and even impossible to predict the sex of the child. Certain guesses depend on the health of the mother, though such guesses are not made public. For for a male child, it is believed that the mother should be thin, with a female child, the reverse. And these views are probably based on the assumption that male children sap the mother's energy to a greater degree. This is likewise the basis of the custom, which confines a female child in the heart with its mother for only 3 days, whereas a male child should stay with its mother for 4 days, thus giving her a longer rest. Now, in reality, only those women who have given birth to two or more children seem to be able to make any successful guess as to the sex of their expected child. I'm going to move to the birth of a child, their preparations. Among the Christian women, again, customs connected with the preparation for birth have largely been dropped. But superstition is still very real factor in the life of every Luo woman. Hence, for example, the preparation of bedding and clothes before a birth is usually neglected on purpose, the position being even worse in families of low income. When women give birth in the maternity wards, the husbands therefore have to make a hasty preparation during the 7 days spent by their wives in hospital. Among the Among the pagans, the pain or nausea experienced during the first few months of fetal growth is mitigated by the administration of certain medicine. When this trouble has ceased, the woman is expected to grow long hair, which should not be shaved until the child is born. Those pagan women who associate much with the Christians, however, have abolished this custom of growing hair, though some of them still take the medicine. Now, among the pagans, the expectant mother takes a light purgative during the 6 months, which is believed to free her from any abdominal impurity. Strong purgatives are forbidden in case they may cause abortion or premature birth. Assistance during delivery. The assistance a woman receives while giving birth depends on the circumstances in which she finds herself. There is no ruling laid down as to which particular people should help her. This obligation merely rests on the whomsoever happens to be present. The assistance of a midwife is required more for a first child than those following. Now, anyone in the family may help the woman in an emergency, but the presence of the husband is not considered necessary unless the case is a difficult one. Now, in a difficult labor, several strong men may be required to hold the woman, but many women give birth to their babies without any assistance. The usual positions adopted are lying on the back with knees bent or sitting with the back supported by a tree. Some leaves serve for the mat. Older women are often have their child without assistance, but it is an obligation upon everyone who finds a woman in need of help to assist her, even if she is unknown to them. On some occasion, a woman about to give birth is made to run, eventually being seated to deliver her baby. A light pressure is exerted on the shoulders. The instructions are given by midwives, who sometimes slaps the woman across the face if she does not obey the orders. After a child is born, cold water is poured over it to make it cry. If it does not cry, iron holes are brought and series of loud tinkling noises made as a form of persuasion. Among the pagans, tobacco smoke is sometimes puffed into the child's nose. When it has been made to utter its first cry, its head is shaped to the normal form, while the nurse waits for the placenta. Now, before the cord is cut, it is tied. To indicate the length of the period of rest that midwives used to chant a prayer. But this is now no longer heard. It is possible it is possible that this chant was a thanksgiving and a request for the newborn baby to fare well in life. The women themselves seem to share a belief that neither their own efforts nor the assistance of others have much effect upon the actual delivery of children. They prefer to believe that in some mysterious power of God, that it is some mysterious power of God which helps them to give birth to their children. Now, there are cases of difficult labor. Although difficult labor cases are now largely dealt with in the hospitals, the crude traditional methods are occasionally used in remote areas, and they indicate the extent to which people go to save the lives of mothers. To the midwives, it's a difficult labor was formerly a dreaded situation. The mothers could suffer for days, and many of them died before relief was given. If a woman died before the birth, it was considered a very bad omen. A stranger had to be paid to cut her open, remove the dead child, but no relative or her own was allowed to touch her. When she when there was only hope of saving the mother's life, a large number of people gathered about her, and many deaths may have occurred through over-manipulation. Sometimes as many as 10 persons were engaged in operating, while others stood by giving confused advice. The group performing the operation included men as well as women. The men held the woman while the women pulled on the head of the child, which was hooked on an iron hoe. When this was done, little attention was paid to the damage of the passage from the womb. If the woman suffered twice from such a difficult delivery, she and her husband were advised to cease having children. If the advice was not observed, the midwives had a right to refuse their help. And in the case of twins, the birth of twins was an unwelcome experience in pre-Christianized society, but in these days it's rarely accompanied by its traditional ceremonies of lamentation. According to tradition, as soon as the loud cry of the midwives was heard announcing the birth of twins, the news had to be carried to the parents of the woman. This loud cry was intended to scare the evil spirit which had brought about the double birth. With it began a series of taboos on the couple as well as on the twins, the family being visually isolated from the society. For emptying their bowels, a large pot was placed in a hidden corner at the back of the house. If either of the twins died during the early period, it was thrown in this pot. In place of the usual clothing, the couple had creepers tied around them. The period of taboo closed with a large gathering at which a great deal of beer was drunk. At this final ceremony, the dancing was rather obscene and accompanied by foul language in reference to the couple. These proceedings lifted the taboo from the shoulders of the parent, but the twins continued to be affected until their deaths. Moreover, anything done to one of the twins had to be done to the other also, because they could not be treated in separate identities. Now their attitude has greatly changed, and even among pagans, these customs are no longer observed. Similarly, a birth in which the baby's legs appeared first was dreaded. This was ascribed to the work of the evil spirit. Then we have renewal of marital relationship. Originally, it was the custom for the renewal of a marital relationship to take place on the third day following the birth of a female child, and on the fourth day after a male child. No married relatives were allowed to enter the hut to see the baby before the parents of the child renewed their marital relationship. Although none of my informants, that's professors' informants, could testify that this practice still exists, it is possible that it persists in certain places. Some of the informants pointed out that modern maternity wards have weakened the custom since women stay in them for 7 days and return home after having shown the baby to many of their friends. Protection against witches. Hmm. Although Christian mothers are not affected by this kind of superstition, pagan mothers of their babies to protect them from the malignant glances. These articles being attached to the children are exposed to the view of relatives and friends. Most people believe that babies can be bewitched as soon as their skin begins to darken, and the pagans believe that through magic, an ill-disposed person can introduce a worm into the baby's stomach. If this occurs, the baby cries and vomits whenever it is suckled by its mother. In the past, when no clothes were worn, it was believed that the mother's breast
Hmm? Lal koso an.
Gitimo ne gicha. Gitimo ne gicha. Winja telo.
Ang'eyo
Wole.
ni background ka backstage.
Anyuola osechako law record. Auda chalo ni luar.
Be back.
I'm sorry.
Now, yeah. Dhiadhi mbele. Kata
Although
ok wagon gi sori. Ginyono watu wadhi mana mbele.
sawa sawa. And the pagans believe that through magic, an ill-disposed person can introduce a worm into the baby's stomach. If this occurs, the baby cries and vomits whenever it is suckled by its mother. Now, in the past, when no clothes were worn, it is believed that the mother's breast would also be bewitched. The tradition was that every living person had a beneficial worm in the stomach, and that this worm digested the food eaten. When the worm refused to digest the food, there would be serious stomach trouble, which might prove fatal. When a child was bewitched, it was believed that the beneficial worm had been replaced by a harmful one. A protection against this harmful worm could supposedly be gained by scratching the body of the child, the forehead, the palm, and on the flat of the foot with some medicine. And it is still said that if the medicine is sufficiently strong, any evil-eyed man looking at the child with the intention of bewitching it would lose his eyesight. Some fragments of bones or roots of herbs may also be worn for the same purpose. Many of these customs have disappeared in strongly Christianized areas, the Christians themselves having sometimes taken direct action to stamp them out. But nurses are still warned not to let young children play on the roadside in order to protect their charges from being bewitched. Childless marriages. A failure to have a child is a great disaster in the home. The idea of the perpetuation of their kind is so deeply rooted in the minds of the Luo people that a childless marriage generally culminates into the breaking up of the home. Concerned, the husband usually being advised by his relatives to marry a second wife, although results may prove that it is the husband who is defective. Priority is always given to men to prove their fecundity. Thus, a woman is forbidden by the social conventions to attempt to prove her own initiative that she can give birth to children. If through the second marriage the husband is proved to be sterile, his wives may be may one by one desert him. On the other hand, this great desire for children may lead him to carry on his name through the secret offices of the woman's brother-in-law. Otherwise, he must face the inevitable fate of having his family broken up. There is women's diet after birth. Now, for the first week after childbirth, the mother's food is limited to grill, fish, and green vegetables. Bo, which is one of the vegetables pulses, is excluded on account of the trouble it gives to the stomach. During this early period, meat is not eaten because most women complain that it makes the stomach tight. Hard food such as boiled maize is also avoided at this time. Although tea and coffee are occasionally drunk by the more fortunate families, the drink which pleases women most at this time is gruel. They are allowed to take a lot of it as people believe that it helps in the formation of milk, which is so important for feeding the new baby. The period of this is considered treatment. The period of this considered treatment is brief, lasting for about a month at the most. Much depends on the economic resources of the family concerned, and the poorer the family is, the shorter is the time that careful attention can be given. The daily rhythm of family duties. The daily program of a mother with a young child is divided into two major phases, corresponding with the morning and the evening meals. In the morning, the activities include the preparation of gruel for the child, preceded by settling it and sweeping the house. When prepared, the gruel is left with a nurse to be given to the child when it cries. The mother then goes to the field to any major work of the day. Preparation of the morning meal begins at about 9 a.m., and by 10 a.m. the family disperses again. The men, perhaps, to herd the cattle or go to the market, and the women to fetch firewood or bring water from the river. The idea of having a meal freshly prepared in the morning is of recent origin. In the past, people ate cold food preserved from the previous evening meal. A great proportion of what is eaten during the week comes from the gardens. In former days, women were expected to prepare an afternoon gruel for their husbands at about 3 p.m. This is still the custom in some families, but modern women are quite ignorant of the practice in its traditional form. The social attitude towards male and female children. The difference in the social attitude towards male and female children arises from considering them in relation to the feature of the lineage to which they belong. A male child is looked upon as a dynamic element in the lineal structure. On the other hand, a female child, though a potential source of wealth, is regarded as an exporter of fertility from her parents' lineage to the lineage of her husband. Thus, if she becomes the mother of many children, her larger numbers are looked upon with disfavor as taking something away from her original family. This results in superstitious feeling which affects her visits to the parental home. Although a larger number of males would normally be preferred, a family of exclusively male children is regarded as a disadvantage because of the economic burden incurred when sons want to marry. But when a father has only female children, his position is considered as dead, for a family is only considered living when there are male members to perpetuate the line. Auda, I'm going to stop there so that you can say something before we move on to social empowerment. Thank you.
Thank you so much, the LUO GIRL. That was very, very clear reading. I want to bring in GK if he can be able to say something. But just
Telo.
hey,
Awinjo. Awinjo. Wacha
yeah.
wana
So
awinjo.
before I bring you in to say something about this, there is something. Ominde talks about a Christian. It starts some students with the Christian mothers. Christian mothers. This is 1949, and I'm sure Christianity introduced. I think there was a lot of a lot of missionary work being done by then to possibly, uh, change the perspective of an African person into this person who now have got a totally different practice. But one thing I think that remains constant, GK, as you come in any conversation about childbirth among the Luo, we are not merely talking about how babies are born. We need to talk about and think about how people understood life itself, especially before colonialism, before missions, and before modernity transformed, modernity, quote unquote, transform the consciousness. I don't want to say the landscape of the Luo society, but the consciousness of the Luo society. Because even as we speak, there are still, I've listened to the Luo Girl read. There are a number of things. Grandparents are still very important in the lives of a child. Whether they bring in Christianity into it, whether they do it like in the consciousness of Luo, still mothers are so much involved in the childbirth. The man is rarely mentioned in that very particular moment about childbirth. Of course, for various reasons. I mean, for obvious reasons. We know they've got their own way they participate into this. But purely this, as I see it, it doesn't matter the changes, the introduction of the so-called Christianity and whatever came. Still you realize that there are people who are very, very important during childbirth. And what marvels me is that even as we speak, it doesn't matter which period we're talking about childbirth, but the thing is there is a system. And in fact, even as they are expected to sit when the ladies are pregnant, the food they are expected to eat, the way they are expected to behave, and all that and all that. So it's not just about childbirth. It's really important, and they still understand life as it were. So GK, I want to stop there just as you come in and give us some perspective into this movement, because we are moving with this Luo girl. Now, this is the Luo girl we've moved with. She's now the one now giving birth, the one we started with in the book. And so she's being modeled, but now Ominde is bringing us in between Christianity and something. It's that some statement with Christianity came and all that. We must be careful that we're not against Christianity, but what we are saying is we want to be conversant of what happened before, and did Ominde pay attention, or was was his perspective possibly twisted by competing interests of him being a scholar, being sponsored, the white man wanting the story to be their story, and all that? Come in, GK.
Ero kamano. Akwongo wachak gi nikech nokamoso jowa nikwara moge amosu. Ero kamano kuom bet kodwa ka. Welcome to this session kendo. Kaka wachoga, Luo is our business, and we are open for business. 247 366 369 370 375. Erokamano sana to the Luo cultural champions for being here, that we may share a bit more. And erokamano to Ramogi Cultural Institute for Luo Heritage Research and Education for this chance. Kwedo kodwa and miwa nafas mawuoyo kendo. And also erokamano to Ouda and the Luo girls for the reading. Was none under the weather a little kama kidogo, so not 100% concentrated, but Congo, I would like to say that in just the much we've read since we met the LUO girl, I would say we have not even gone super deep. We have not gone super deep. Even as the even in marriage, I mean, they had written quite a little about it, and there's so much in tier types of marriage, in tier conditions of marriage, in tier so much. There's so much that we need to go through, and childbirth and the customs around it in detail. Why like this? So after even this fast reading, I would request we go more slower through the whole thing and really through every chapter and really look at the LUO girl kakiwachano or the before colonization, because even before colonialism there was so much that was going on. There was so much war that was going on, Gikmane Timre, which would be interesting to put into context, because the history of Luo is not only formed by colonialism, it's formed by all those attacks that were coming before. The enslavement of the Luos that was being carried out by the Arabs and the other people around, especially for the Asian trade, that also shaped society a lot, and realize how it shaped not only what we believe now is the traditions, and how the worldview adapted to it, and how it reacted to it, and how it protected itself from this experience, not only with the Arabs, with the Romans, the Greeks, all this. But very interesting to go deeper into this. So we go through it now slower, much more slower, and then in depth. But Gima, for me, striking is the killer time and this pagan talk. This is a Luo talking about Luos to Longogin pagans. Again and again and again. To juxtapose Manog Christian family. As if Jomilungon pagans go, it is not the same system that has created them. It's very interesting. So Koachoka Kamano Jakoni. The custom and taboos observed by expectant mothers merely reflect the social attitude of Luo women to the birth of their children. Thus, the aim of the customs and taboos can only be appreciated in light of a social desire for the woman to give birth without difficulty. Fundamentally, this is also a basis for the disapproval of the birth of twins, and also of abnormal deliveries. The custom and taboos observed by expectant mothers, social attitude of women to give birth. Kendo, again, in Luo society, women are not just for giving birth, or else there would not be a system to bring them into Luoness. So the customs and taboos exist before she becomes a mother, before she gets married, after she gets married, even if they divorce, and then those customs and taboos still exist. So this central idea, my Southall nego to push into Minde's mind that these women are only for giving birth. The society looks at them like this is very interesting. Thus, the aims of the customs and taboos can only be appreciated in light of a social desire. Again, Dwoko Guinea paying to just it's about the women and their wanting to have children. So the other time, no realize why the children are important. This idea of this is also the basis for the disapproval of the birth of twins. Only saving joga gimoro kama. There's a disapproval for the birth of twins.
Disapproval for the birth of twins.
Mm.
Not among the Luos. Because if there is a disapproval amongst the twins, why do we even have special names for twins? GK. GK Winja. Yes. I've heard of it. I've seen it, but in other communities. But amongst the Luo, I stand to be corrected. But why would it be that Luos castigated them or didn't like them, yet they knew, even gave them special names? Adongo and Apio, if they are girls, are special names for twins. There'll be special names for them if really they are not. They were declared. So amongst the Luo people, I'm not sure, because I come from a family where twins are. I didn't realize any different. Maybe it's a family thing. So let's just say, but for me, we have got twins in my family, lots of them. I've never seen them being treated differently. So I can't talk for others, but I know for a fact in my surroundings, twins have never had any problems. So I don't know whether what Professor Minde is talking about.
There's this. It is a general thing. It is a general thing in Africa that the twins are looked negatively. They're like a bad omen. But Kirango in Luo, it is more the symbolism of Juok.
Mm-hmm.
It is the symbolism of Juok. Juok has those sides.
Mm-hmm.
Juok and Achiel, but it has those sides. Malos okod ketho. Oloso to ketho. Ochueyo to nego. So such an entity, Okinyal wacho ni it is benevolent. No? And benevolent. Difficulties mamako ga jogino. Religious people. Nka Nyasaye ber ang'o miyo ochueyo Satan. Ajachien, ok Satan jachien. Ang'o miyo ochueyo jachien. And such like things. Koro duoko mano bedo matek. Mato Juok is just mokwongo ok en Nyasaye, ok en a spirit. And then en capacity mar gini, mar loso kod ketho. Inherent in itself. As with all creativity, oketho to loso something else. But then more a symbol of this, the symbol of loso kod ketho. So appeasing that kind of way. Martin Ogino. Gimoro ni mos ati nyathi ni rango mobiro kod tiende nirango ka gima rach. Telo gimoro nyathi ma obiro kod tiende nirango ka gima rach. Ok en gima rach, but en gima risky. En gima risky. Nikech wach ni kata nyara first born nobiro gi tiende. And so noyudo chance mabedo kanyo for the delivery. Kata doctor mano deal with that situation, a specific doctor.
So en a health risk.
So en a health risk.
but not a bad omen. Is it an omen?
No.
So
Ing'eyo koro ng'ato kosechako classify gik moko ni pagan and not pagan, everything will fall in that light. Nan kanyo, anto nan kanyo. So kata at that time, an interesting kitchen hospital, so a lot of nurses nanti that room kitchen and a very and a very rare situation. To need one gilan. One gilan kitchen. Okay, and rare but otimre. So for me in a very uncomfortable situation. Jinenge no child no child football match. Jinen kanyo although gitene daktari no ema ne ndichwo, the rest were nagin mon. Yeah, but there was a lot of talk, a lot of preparation kapok obiro nikech it was kata kaka no goal, it was different. Okay, for a long nochuno daktari okonye nikech normally kisebet kin gi nyithindo mang'eny kaka wan kisebet in that situation, he experienced so many things. So but mano was unique. Ne gikawo so much precaution, but no work out. But so I understand it from that perspective, my experience. Okay, nkata ni gima winjo ama gima awinjo kuom ng'ato nikech nantie e room no to naneno what happened. And kata mondo kata gik maminde describe nikech en dichuo ing'eyo, and ok wagoga through this process, and majority of times ok wan ga in this room to neno what is happening. Nitie gik mang'eny mo describe kanyo miwacho ni kisebet in that situation, nikech an asebet in that situation around 9 times. To out of the 9 times, only out of the 9, adek emonyuoli hospital. The rest of the 6 gite onyuol gi ot in the house. So kata gik mowacho ni stool, kaka wacho ni kata kaka wacho ni ginindi tokgi. Ginyuol ka ginindo. That is the ideal. Mano was that is a very European invention. Mano was a completely European invention because there was a queen. The king wanted them to see her give birth and prove that the child was hers. So she had to lie down. More so from my experience. More so. And better kagin on their feet, moving, especially kagitiyo gi gravity. Konyo emomiyo nyathi mawuok gi tiende is a bit difficult because kowuok gi wiye, the gravity is pulling the heavier side. At that time, wiye is the biggest thing. So it's easier. Gravity ka pull. Alafu ka iluongo gi nade. Nitie movements moko mabiro ga from the body. We will call gi in English. Aparo in luo giluonge en muoch. No?
Yeah, muoch.
Contractions.
Iwacho labor pain.
Contractions.
Contractions.
Oh, yes.
So contractions go ema push ga nyathi piny, to ka gi push nyathi piny, ka wiye mantie malo is much better. Is much better nikech the head is the biggest, koro kosewuok to the rest of the body is smaller. Alafu big gravity konye. Nikech The rest of the birds, kata the last ones, minot maduong' kod minot matin ne gitimo kendgi. Ne ni that space kende. Nokawo the process kende. Nodwa time kende. So aneno gik mang'eny telo. Aneno gik mang'eny, but opuonja a lot about.
Emomi ing'e gik mang'eny.
Opuonja a lot
Jaluo
about
wacho
gino.
ni daga ne mang'eny mondo ing'e mang'eny. Ne mang'eny ing'e mang'eny.
So kata kaka owuoyo no kise experience gigo to realize just basic on a life basic. O assume sana. To assumptions ne God dwa keto on Luo culture. So ineno kaka nyathino mane wuok no. Why the doctor ne nyaka obed special nikech koro wiye modong'. The chances of nyathini suffocate are super high.
It's simple science, suffocation.
Super high. Alafu wiye ibo golo nadi ka the first thing mowuok en tiende and the feet are very small. So nitie science ye kanyo ma kineno kaka ondiko gigi realize no. Akia ka ne en gi nyithindo, but especially at this time, Southall control wiye sana. Southall keto a lot of gik moko wiye. Alafu wach diet ni. Diet ni is important. Diet ni is important. Mano gima na experience nikech wacho ni kik ocham some things. Nyathi bet maduong'. Nikech after all those children, ne gin very, especially chuo. Now you don't chuo. And my boys ne gin very big. Ne gin very big. Kata ka girango weight margi. Ne gin very big. So ne gi reduce their diet even more. Time ma kagising'eyo en kijana. But more, a lot of those things nok wadwa ng'eyo. Nok wadwa ng'eyo. Ng'eny gi nyalo ng'isi, but wan nok wadwa ng'eyo. But after some time nitie some things matimre ting'en mawuoyi. Nitie kaka obiro, nitie movements meke, nikech kosopo sometime to gimove, especially gimove. Kata en interesting tell. Ibe in gi nyithindo, ng'e this process, en interesting. Very interesting. So the food is important. Food not is important.
Ing'eni ni midwives used to know whether it's a boy or a girl. And like now, wadhi for scans and wang'eyo before it comes. But those days, midwives knew. Nyathi ma wuoyi, they knew. They had signs. Magi test together, and they would tell you any nyathi ma wuoyi. And it would be nyathi ma wuoyi.
Indeed. There's some. There's a difference. Indeed difference. Maybe anani tindo kuwa aware of things. One more dependent on kikuma machines bo wacho and kikuma professionals bo wacho. So seche moko kata gik ma professional wacho is above gima i experience. So learn from the experience. Irito mondo en mo judge the experience. So mano be nitie. Nikech an through the process, the second manodong' manotimi ot. Ne wan gi midwife kanyo. So and then a very interesting experience. An aluonge ga ni it's a magical experience nikech en realize ni nitie gik moko matimre e piny ka which are very interesting. Kaka dichuo it is very interesting to observe. Very, very interesting. Also, a factor of great psychological significance is the belief that Luo mothers begin to yield to the will of their babies long before they are born. More is not Luo mothers. all mothers. Kech nowacho ka the other time telo ni nyathino temo ng'eyo the world through the mother. Otemo ng'eyo. So bet kamano, alafu jogi interact on a very intimate way nikech nyathino winjo duonde from inside. Isetimoga experiment makoro idino ithi alafu iwuoyo tiwinjri from inside.
Yeah.
Isetimo gino? Isetimo experiment idina
So many.
iti to ok
Yes.
iwinj duondi but itemo winji from inside. It's very different.
Kidhi kata kidhi, there's the same thing also kata assuming you are showering or bathing or whatever, or even swimming. To pure donje iti both sides. Try speaking to yourself. You will hear waves, ma. You are speaking to yourself and you are only hearing yourself. It's a very, but the thing is, gimiwachon is quite important nikech the child gimingi, they communicate in a very very unique way kaine each nikech samoro kata mana that grow to sama mingi go through emotions to they pick it up inside the stomach. They pick up the emotions maminigi. That's how deep that communication is. Mana ka describe gimiwachon, the way they are speaking is
Alafu
out
pari
of this world.
yes. Alafu pari kosewuok the communication between the mother and the child ni an kaka baba gi koywak tawinja winja koko. This is noise.
Kende
Okawe from the perspective of nyathi.
samoro wacho, hey, miuru nyathino gimodwaro konwa koko ka.
Kendo an aliet ga kanyo soya. Manoromo.
Tima nadi, miuru gimodwaro. Yeah.
So rang gini from perspective ma nyathi mokwongo. Ni nyaka learn the specific sounds mobo make, mobo miyo mama gi move.
Yes.
Onge school modhi. Nyaka ong'e ni ka ywak ba timo dini ba ywayo this D. To mama obo ng'eyo na I need this. Ka ywayo C. And for the first years nikech before wuo it is some time. So nyaka samose wuok owuotho on this, nyaka learn how to wuoyo, make this woman move. And mana challenge ne mokwongo. Make her move. Give me breast. Give me milk. Change me. Carry me. I want to sleep. I am tired. Okia wacho these words. But nyaka gichop.
GK, you are bringing in a very very important aspect of that. Nikech nitiere in the same aspect also. Response towards gimotimre ne nyathi will always determine how the child responses to that same situation. So nyathi will always wait for the response of the mother first. Example is this. Nyathi kopodho, nyithindo matindo matugo, kopodho piny, to min gi, hey, hinyri, mos, pole, ang'o. In the next 3 seconds, nyathino dwa muoch gi ywak mapok idwaro no. He or she is responding to how you have responded to the situation. Gi panic. Now, nyathini gi wuon gi to podho. To wuon gi ong'iye ang'iya ok owacho anything, ok obuok kata. Nyathino dwa chung' kano kende. May not even, okay, it depends on the impact of the fall. Let's not joke with that. To ka en podho moko mag tugo ma podha tugo to podho ni. To he always waits for the response of an adult around. He or she. It works. It happens. So the moment me react gi panic gang'o, nyathino dwa muoch gi nduru mapok idwaro no. because he realize ni kara gini situation raj mobuogo janyuol, but you act it out nicely. Oh, I'm sorry. So you fall. You fell. Very calmly. He or she might even smile and get up themselves. Wachonega nyathini waringo ibro podho cha. It is you responding to that situation, not the child. Hey, don't run, you're gonna fall. Me no here son. Let those people fall and get up by themselves. I just wanted to mention that response, that communication between the parent and the child, Kenya Thipotin. So ikelo aspect mar understanding how mothers react, how they understand. Ni yuak mo yuakni means something. We may not get it. They will get it because the communication between this person grew in this lady's stomach, not in your stomach as a man. Yeah.
Telo koro warange
Okay.
from the perspective. Iwinja telo.
Yes.
Daka chiel.
Inji.
Koro warange
Iwinja.
from perspective. Awinji koro. Mano ne warange from perspective ma nyathi. Koro warange from perspective ma mama ni. Telo Ilwar. In kanyo. Wuon le. Wuon le iduogo. Kose pod giketi jela. Giketi gini.
Ane backstage akiajo.
Ne giketi jela.
Backstage.
So, mano from perspective ma nyathi. Roma mama no. Perspective ma mama no. Nyaka ing'en ma gima no maybe nipuonjo gi siwinje. But an ayudo nyithindo e time ma koro siwinde obedo exiled. Iyudo ni nyaka ochak ng'eyo. Yuagni mean this. Yuagni mean that. Yuagni mean this. Yuag cha mean that. Koro nyaka learn a totally new vocabulary. Totally new. Anena ni one, especially generation ma wuonewa kod megewa kod wan ina gine ma very selfish. Wan very selfish. Makata learn gigo weneno is a bother. Mani wito ni maid. Odagi. Idwa dhi loso pesa and all these other things. So, don't kamano. So nitie gik moko mabe that's nikech nyathini nyaka build gini. But koro obo build with somebody else. Emomiyo ne kineno ka i systems machon kata mek Luo kata mek Africa in general. Ka min gi are too busy or pod gi learn to min nyako ni ema bo timo this process nikech pod en attached with the same bloodline. So nyalo konyo. To dhi mbele. Alafu telo nitie something ma jo Africa nong'eyo. And by extent joluo nong'eyo. Ni idier wi dhano between the hemispheres. Nitie part moro matin kanyo. Mantie ga idiere kanyo. Mantie in the middle kanyo. Nyithindo Kakineno ga ka nyathi wiye breathe cha kapok obedo stable. Gino vibrate ga. Part no vibrate ga. Ka min gi wuoyo to vibrate clockwise. Ka wuon gi wuoyo to vibrate anti-clockwise. Eka ong'e ni mano wuon gi. To eka ong'e ni mano min gi. Nikech en attached to that. And very intimate. Jogi nolose in rhythm, and that rhythm obedo carried over. So yudo ni emomiyo ne gitemo avoid situation ma wan go sani ni anie mama anie baba. En gima en misunderstanding of nyathini completely. Nikech ka wuon gi wuoyo, different direction. Min gi ka wuoyo, o vibrate in a different direction. Ing'eyo. So, en an inner thing. Magi gik ma emomiyo ineno there was so many customs to. And then customs ma protect nyathi be. Emomiyo ne en important. Odwa ng'eyo wuon ng'ani. Ok ibi timo kaka udwaro no. Inindo kod nyako ni, mae mikawo. Mae mikawo. Ochak process. In miyawo that, isemiye that data. Koro kikawo responsibility kikia build data kaka dichuo. Ikia build data motegno. Data ma last. Through gik mitimo, through accomplishment, jomi associate go. Purpose ni society, accomplishment rate mari, level ma consciousness ni, kakobedo organized. Mage data madwarore. Keep us on to the next generation. So, min ng'ane rieko kao dhiang', alafu giyudo ng'ato, alafu giyudo nyathi, alafu madwa wacho ni nie baba nie mama, and these type of things. Kagintie, nyaka girecognize gima timre kuom nyathino. Kaka nowacho ni what, who, and why nyako ni nitie. Nitie by who, what, and why nyathi ni nitie. And who, what, and why wuon gi nitie, but who, what, and why society be nitie. Kowacho ni gigi gin just about for pregnancy. Omindo ok understand gima timre. So, among them, factor of great psychological significance is the belief that Luo mothers begin to yield to the will of their babies long before they are born. One is not Luo mothers, it's all mothers. Alafu watu kaka develop habits of eating dried mud, other peculiar food stuff. One baby causing a mother to eat this and the next turning her appetite against them. So, ma is interesting because kelo the aspect ma gik ma jogo botimo in the world. Gibiro different capacities, different capabilities, different attributes are necessary for the society to survive. When the society to survive, jogging nyaka be different types of skills and attributes. Minyalo develop into characteristics later. Konyo the sustainability ma society. Ka kila ng'ato is the same. To kamin kaka nawacho differently the same. I mean, the same in the sense of mofuo. Kaka tinde neno nyithindo nyalo rwako the same clothes, listen to the same music. Yani gimopogo gi mana kaka gichalo and their body shapes and all this and their parents. But iye kucha, gidwaro the same thing, yani been united in that. Mano society ma difficult to innovate. Kendo wadoubt kobo survive. Wabo neno. Dietary restrictions mowachogi nosewacho kamano. Owacho ni dietary restriction may also be a matter of family habit or taboo. Kendo yani mang'isi no, he does not get it. Jogi ne nitie siwinje ka giwuoyo about diet all this time. To this particular family kod nyigi gisebet ka gi observe their DNA for a long time. Min ng'ano ng'eyo ging'ere several generations. Ng'eyo kwaru is not just about boasting na nang'e kwara to the 7th generation. En mondo trace kantie some issues. Kantie anything. Inyalo trace. Ng'eyo ken so king'eyo kwaru to the 10th generation, mano konyi nade? Koonge data makonyi, onge data mobiro as a result of ng'eyo gigo. Koro an nonyuola kod omondi onyuolo lo onyuolo onyango onyuolo biero. So what? Kila ng'ato nigi that. Mari konyi nade? Kendo kwapenjoga gigi, ok wapenjga exactly some of the things mane peculiar about jogi. Seche moko kwadwaga ng'eyo kata ka ne nitie some disease ang'o. Ka ne nitie something mane affect.
Can be passed over to the next generation and all that.
Bas. Nikech idwa ng'eyo mondo ing'e gimi pass on to the next generation ma nyithindi. Ka adier iherogi. Wakawe ga as a
Iwacho
very
no nyaka sina.
physical thing.
Awinjo ni tinde wan nyikwa sina banga, kia sina banga. Sina banga. Right.
Nang'isi telo ni especially kama wadhi donjo ni there'll be a lot of inventions and stories. An mago be pok awinjoga and kanyisi adier I don't care. Pod nyaka gini obed this structured watemo collect the information machon but apparently ok kila ng'ato mohero neno ka Luo gets its act together. Aparo nitie joma ng'eny ma benefit from the confusion within the culture makoro it is to their benefit and the confusion continues. Kendo this is the saddest part. These people seem to be many. Very, very many.
Ramont, during COVID, millionaires were made. People died, but they were millionaires. Kora, what you are saying is there are people who are benefiting from the confusion. Cultural confusion is making money for them. Just like people became millionaires in the event niji tho ji koma jomoko ki kata giwedegi and all that, but people are becoming millionaires. Yeah.
Nitie joma no inherit mon.
Yes.
Nikech ing'en kar inherit mon no to ji ohero thoroughly. Monega, to them monega the core of Luo culture, polygamy. So gik mowachogo emomiyo nawacho telo just this ineno kata kaka owacho medical restrictions, social owacho such little owacho kaka the list of medicines that expectant mothers may not take is a small one. Apart from the traditional strong purgatives and medicines for killing worms, modern drugs like quinine and strong European laxatives are eliminated. Such measures are being designed to prevent abortion or premature birth. Sani aneno ni most of Africa is turning more to their traditional medicines, more and more. So at least gichako bet gi sense. Nikech for a long time ning'iso wan they are nonsensical to giti. So gichako duogo back to sense nikech mago be pod bo tiyo. As much as wan Europeanize, nitie gik moko kanyo ma kidhi kuom jo Europeans to ging'isi we don't know why. We really don't know why this is happening. Tell me mpaka moro matin. Now adhi kod min ot matin. Nikech nyaka wang'i gik ma gikeloga. Gik ma gikelo through the family. So iwacho ni okay, nyaka girang some part of the DNA mondo gine. Mondo gine what is likely to affect Ntindo or what is affecting Ntindo already. So and I like ng'eyo gigo nikech adwa ng'eyo gik matimre makata kadhi Africa to labda nitie yath moro manyalo associate gi that DNA ma pok obedo discovered under microscope manyalo konyo. So bed ka ng'eyo. It's just good to know. Kaka wachoga ni kata marriage kapok itimo, idhi adhiya divorce lawyer. Alafu kaka wadhi ka wabet moti, nitie gik ma wadwa ng'eyo about this body nikech ma technology ma ancestors nomiya. So wadhi kuro to ne girango something specific. To apenjo mama no, nitie gimoro miyudo? Is there anything else miyudo? To wacho ni narango mana these specific ones. Nikech already nitie so many parts mantie within you in the DNA that level ma abo bedo confused. Gin almost nonyisa kaka nawinjo almost 20 something thousand. So negi associate mana those ones. So mano no kowacho kamano bong'isa ni okay, kara jogi be with the modernity nitie so much that they don't know about the body. Nikech onyisa ni to take just an studying every part of an bokawe akia how long. You need supercomputers mondo gine alafu girang ka hypothesis and every possibility. Yani obo timo tija ng'at achiel kanyo for some years. So nitie some corners ma this medicine of ours pod associate go to osebedo ka associate go in us for a long time. Ma wite oko ok ber. Wanyalo supplement mek Europe, but magi be nyaka bed at the core. So in the space of medicines, nitie so much. Nitie so much. Iparo story manwasomo ma nyako cha. Nyako mane nyako gi ng'ielno. Ouda.
Yeah. Yes. Mane
Iparo
ng'ielo
nyinge.
saro cha.
Iparo nyinge.
Abong'o. Abong'o.
Abong'o en ang'o iluwo? Penje LUO GIRL.
LUO GIRL in ka. LUO GIRL iwinjowa?
Antie.
Ing'e gima bong'o mino?
Ati?
Abong'o.
Abong.
Ing'e gima bong'o mino?
I think Abong is a name.
Yeah, to mean anything en gi meaning koso onge gi meaning en na nying.
Ang'eya ni en nying be meaning ok ang'eyo. Anyalo ng'eyo.
Okay. Jike watim kama. Ang'eyo ni you gonna kiki you answer podi. Nitiere chat button kanyo. Text ane uru jowinjowa what abong'o means. Jike wamigi dakika 5. Wadwa neno gima kanitie joma understand na abong'o mean ang'o. Koro we ane mon.
Abong'o en ang'o?
Yeah, go story. Go just talk about it, but don't give the meaning. Wamigi ane 5 minutes. So I'm waiting for you guys. Text nitie chat kanyo directly. Email bro kao time. Koro chat direct kae. Wachna abong'o mean ang'o. Okay, jike the bell.
Erokamano. So mano bobet the puzzle mar gino. Omin ang'o? So ineno ni majority of the people on medicine, makoro one on just medical restrictions. Majority of one wakian, the names we have are plants and trees. So kata nyingi moko was a way of preserving medicinal knowledge. Gimoro kaka raila. Raila is a particular plant. Nikech oilo. Nitie so many plants. Iwinjo ga. Ami example telo. Seje en kanye.
Seje is a place. Kata Lego, there's a place called Seje.
Aye. Koro igine. Seje is 2 plants. Mara mokwongo giwacho ni nyaka dhi arang kamoro, but the second one and Sesinium adonen, yeah, that word. Seje is a perennial herb with woody tuber, with woody tuber stems. Stems prostrate of ascending. It ascends from 3 to 35 centimeters long. The flowers are white or pink, and the leaf infusion is used as a bath to treat sepe, spiritual possession. So there's a lot of names. Mawangago, a lot, but they're ogolgi directly from plants. Yeah, a lot. Also Ntiema could make animals, but make plants are the ones was interesting. Was very interesting. Yeah, so kata names gi seche moko winjo gi geto or believe mana no okay. And apio koda dongo because blah blah blah. No, actually the other time, Kweregi no dong with the names and stuff as memory chips. Koro nyingi nyalo unlock a lot. A lot. And then I know one curious. He say, we use a Lord. Your name means this. It is over. Kara labda kuarunen ja medicine mangula koro nyingu go pando so many gine recipes. Pando so many recipes. Kata gino George. Ati George. I wonder. He say we don't say J na plant. Particular plant. Miti you go like this. So that is what wacho. So kata kineno emomiyo nawacho I would prefer no akaw gini and we go deeper now. Joko timoni gi chatelo. Ibiro social relationships. Superstitions affecting expectant mothers have very largely yielded to the influence of Christianity. But we find remnants of old regulations such as those connected with sitting still observed by women. An expectant mother is required to sit with a straight back. Neither should she put one leg on top of another, because it is believed the child is assuming a similar position and would be difficult to deliver. A person standing behind an expectant mother may also be Telo. Angisi. Eduogo. Makoro from experience. But we find remnants of old regulations such as those connected to sitting still observed by women. kinyalo paro ka min ot ne yach. Sitting is quite an issue. Inyalo paro gimomiyo telo.
Kata chung kende
It's an issue.
Chung kende is a problem. Tiel achiel kuongo bet kendo itieko dakika 4 eka machielo koro luye.
Ing'e gimomiyo telo. Nikech nitie bone ma mon nitiego kar ka. I waist ka. Ma bone no nyaka yawre ka nyathi bone. Nikech wi nyathi kalo ga inside that bone. Nyaka yawre. So the more through this pregnancy, odhiga koyawre. Kata kineno ka mon go wuotho, it's not only the womb. And the legs oyawre. The muscles obedo light. Ok light. Gibedo loose. Mondo nyathi owuog. So observation of this is important nikech seche moko kobet kamano to bones go settle down kamano. Chung bedo issue. Bedo issue kabisa. So ok en about ni superstition and gigi yield to Christianity. Moso ananyalo wacho ni Christianity destroy gigi. Nikech respect for the woman and kaka go through that part obedo thrown to the side. Obedo thrown completely to the side. Completely. So we expect not kata samo yacho no expect no behave kanga ma body ne ok go through a certain experience. So
Not realistic.
Yeah, so obedo interesting. Ka sawa nikech sawa yuare telo. To ne wawuoyo about just the first ones.
Jige. Yeah.
Telo mos homa ni dwa tera wach matin. Watiek gi gimoro ka. Wuoyo about women in Luo thought. A girl, in brackets a woman, is of the highest value in Luo society because she is the means through which one can enter eternal life. That is through procreation and children. A woman belongs to her family in the same way as a son does. However, because a son cannot bear children, he is not of the same importance as his sister, and may even become a burden because of his strong desire to start a relationship with a woman who is part of another family. The real value of a family therefore resides in its daughters. They can be given away in marriage in exchange for symbol consisting of marriage beads, spears, etc. Okay, at that time, not get code cows, beads, spears, a lot more. Mobo go deeper. Kwarango the Luo girl kendo in context of Luo culture, or in context of Kima, I mean the watch about Luo, Kama Oyo Deni, where it has been transformed. Watch on. The real value of a family therefore resides in its daughters. The symbol is being equal to the value of a human person. 3 to 4, 9, 9. Dogese biro gine ka. Telo. Gize bino. Haya.
Gin sama gidwaro jonyuolgi, they don't care.
Gidonja gimuomre. The symbol being equal to the value of a human person. 3 to 4, never less than 2. Dimui beats. If one marries a woman, one does not buy her like a material thing, but one acquires through marriage all rights over her as well as over what she may produce in work, children, and so on. Nevertheless, ma is important. Nkechingani indike English. But really okoyud rights over her. Okonyal yud rights over her because she belongs to the society. Obeo belong to the society. The mommy of their marriage is a social affair. You belong. Obodi into this gikmoko kaka divorce and different types of marriage. In case even before 90 different types of marriage. Ondo wane. Ngenwa yudoga just one-sided. It's Christian or traditional. But inside traditional, there was so many types, depending on kakagino biro. But mine sama the Europeanness mar joagi ma record samota owuok ga. Nkech winje contradiction. No, actually, a girl or a woman is of the highest value in Luo society. Aya. Alafu kendo dogo wacho, if one marries a woman, one acquires through marriage all rights over her as well as what she may produce in work, children, and so on. This is the highest thing in society. Ibo acquire nadi marriage. Ochalko minde when he's recording this. Their ideology about what is happening and what is really happening on the ground. Katakagi clash they do not notice. It says, nonetheless, a woman through marriage still preserves her links with her own family and sentimentally still belongs to her father. Podoko understand. Yeah, Okonyal belong to her father. No. If a man wants to divorce his wife, he shall not sell her to anybody, but can only return her to her family. A fact which clearly proves that a man does not buy his wife as he would buy a cow, but merely acquires the temporary right to use her as his wife during the time of marriage, and the marriage beads being a symbol of legitimizing this loan. Once the woman has become old and thus useless, both for bearing children and for work, she will therefore return home to her own family, a brother or a son. Ewinjo telo.
Awinji.
Nyaka warang gigi deeper. Is ntie a simplicity mobiro in the traditions ma okay, ane kanyalo mi example. Me a certain example ka. Ntie something mane ntie ka. Wekarange telo ikawe gine kapok waloro. Ikawe alafu abudugo gino alafu walori.
The Luo girl can some more these subsections and all that. Kaen kod gima nyalo wacho addition, a question, a statement around it. Wamiya ne thuolo mondo koro bende apart from somo koro omiwane owuane e gima osomono. Ojabet ga gi questions samoro ma miwa another perspective. The LUO GIRL, what is your take on on today's readings? Misomogo, where do you see controversies? Where do you see connections? What do you wanna correct on how you have seen some things personally and the way Uminde is putting them? Anything goes.
My opinion right now is I think, no, I don't think. From my background and how I have grown up, there is one thing that I see, like when Ominde mentions the pagan society and the Christianized society, I tend to agree with Ramoth when he says Ominde is referring to our culture as pagan practices, because if not pagan, then he talks about Christian, and we all know Christian is now the westernized version of the society, that is the colonized version. And to some point, I really don't appreciate that. You people were talking about the aspect of twins. Now, twins were not an outcast, basically, but they were a special kind of people. Where I come from, there is gold mining and there is also fishing, both in the lake and in the river. So we live in a place rich of resources. And I look at the rules that culture has bestowed upon twins. I consider them harsh, or rather exclusive only to twins. There are situations where, okay, the birth, they are usually accepted, though there is a tough rule on how they are supposed to be brought up, but they are usually accepted, which is very different from our neighboring communities, because in Luya land, Luos as firstborns, I mean, twins as firstborns are rarely a good gesture. In fact, they could be left outside so that if they survive, they can be welcomed. But in Luo culture, twins are welcomed. However, there are several restrictions, especially where I come from, where gold mining, we do the shaft mining where people go underground. And if you fathered twins, you're not going underground. You're not, because somehow, and I'm going to say bad or men, Ramoth, you are going to cause something to happen. That is what we believe. I believe, because they believe, and once in a while it happens when those people insist on going down there. You have to find your family something, and if you have to go down there to find your family something and something happens, something bad, then you're held responsible. So most of the time they're excluded from those activities, but still given a fair share of what everyone else is receiving from that hunt, from that dig, from that fishing, whatever the trawl is. Same to the twin children. Now, not the twin parent, but the twin children. They're also not so much included. Now, these rules also applied to people, because we're talking about childbirth and protection from bad omen. I see these rules usually applying to people with new wives, or if you have a new mother, ka in gi manyoro, especially men, ka in gi manyoro ama in gi miaha, there are things that you don't participate in lest you bring them bad luck or some bad omen. So there is this, let me say, a spirit that is hovering over you. They believe it's hovering over you because either you have a new wife, you have a new mother at home, or you fathered twins. So there is a way the society treats you, a special way. You're not an outcast, but there is a way you're treated different from the others. There was also the aspect of pattern. there is this pattern of get up in the morning, leave the baby with the nurse, prepare food, give it when you come back, go to the field and come back. Now, we saw this with the mother of the LUO girl when the LUO girl was born. Now, this LUO girl has grown all through, and this pattern continues to a point now she is a mother and she is repeating the same societal norms of a breastfeeding mother, how you leave your baby, how you prepare food, and all that. It gives us a pattern of how the society grows. Some of the processes are repeated. That is for continuation of the society. And there was the aspect of, do I call it witchcraft? The bad eyes and the worm in the stomach. And well, right now they are associated to health issues. But back then, not back then, even today, in our communities, there are people who you're not allowed to eat when they're looking at you. Up to today, you're not allowed to eat when they're looking at you. Or when they see people eating, they either avoid, if it's in the public domain that they have that bad eye, they either avoid where people are eating or they are sent away. Now, I wouldn't say this is a belief because, well, it's something I believe in, so it's not just a belief. Maybe it's part of culture. And then lastly, there was the aspect of the male children and the female children in the family, their roles. Mm, Basically, every family requires a balance. In cases where there are no male children, there is tension between the husband and wife or any other person that is looking at the wife as the responsible person. Same applies to when they are unable to get children. And also in cases where there are only girls, there is tension. Now, the societies use it differently. In as much as girls are source of wealth, in as much as they pay dowry, in as much as girls, they bring some pride and cows, and they show the continuation of the lineage. They're, however, not the prize in their father's compounds, because the continuation of the lineage that they are responsible for is in someone else's homestead. And at some point, you realize they're not welcome in their paternal homes because they're draining energy. Now, that is in the spiritual aspect. They're draining the energy of their home to the other home. Same applies to men. A home with men is a protected home. A home with men is one that is likely to continue. Homes with boy child were respected homes because that old man had soldiers. However, it becomes a burden when each of them wants to get married, and the old man could be rich and have cattle, but the economic aspect of it, instead of bringing, they are going to be taking away. That is how the community views it. So there requires to be a balance of male and female children, so that as others brings in, as we continue our lineage here with the male children, and the girl child are going to continue their lineage there with the husband's family, there is also wealth incoming, so that we replace the outgoing. That is my take. And then there is also the aspect of, as a father or as a mother of children who are going into marriage or bringing other people's children into marriage, you get to, let me say, replace, though it's not to replace, but you get value for what you have spent. When you're getting yourself a daughter-in-law, you hope, or you train your daughter to be a good daughter-in-law wherever she is going, so that the one you are receiving in your homestead is something that maybe you tell yourself, I trained my daughter well, I hope this one is also trained well, so that there is a balance in the society. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much, the LUO GIRL. That's what I said when we started. I said we have got this LUO GIRL growing up in 1949 and through 50s and through 60s, 70s, 80s, and even through 90s. A lot of so much has changed by design, of course. And then we have the LUO GIRL reading for us this story, who is living in the current situation. In traditional society, childbirth was not merely a biological event. It was a social, spiritual, and a communal one. Spiritual, not in the sense of how we would describe it today. A child was viewed as a continuation of the lineage, the way I think Ramoth explained it so well. It's the lineage, the clan, and the ancestors. So pregnancy, therefore, surrounded
Tell
by customs. Yes.
Tell
Mm.
yeah. I'll clarify that point.
Yes.
In on continuation of the lineage, that is European thinking.
Okay.
It is the way to live forever. Man is a very different concept.
Mm-hmm.
It is the way to live forever. My polo. Or me example. Ineno gimano wacho ni kaka giwacho the twins. The issue of the twins. Now let us where the European induced disease of seeing anything that we do not understand as being mystical. Wadogi, the African one, where especially the Luo one, now we deal with the environment. Telo and Cody, we exist in a society. So in this society, wakunyo gold. Let me take this example. In twins. And gnyathi achiel or I don't have. Teliwinja. Gitimo ni gicha. Onle.
Igio wang' saidi kichako koda gini.
Bas. We were there.
Dhi mbele kora winji.
So, mokwongo, it is if we are men who reason, it is to our benefit for you not to come along. As men, it is to our benefit you do not come along. Kidonjo kanyo uda. Bitho. Who is inheriting your 2 children and your wife? Obeda very practical. Because Luos were very practical. This spirituality thing, Magijo, we are taking Christianity, Islam, and these other things to Akete in Luo. And Luo is scientific. So, and Cody, if we are the elders, we have to find a way to keep this guy alive. He's the one who has produced these 2 children. And Moting Ting, who will we give this burden? So even if we say it is bad omen, kiddy, we'll have to find a reason. But the real reason, he's not going fishing. Especially Ken incompetent. You realize he's incompetent. In case not everybody was competent. Giving birth to children or making a woman pregnant does not need competence. It needs sexual organs. Raising children to be Luo, to be human beings,
Is where the work is.
that requires competence. Why should we let you have the easy way out? You go drown because of your incompetence. We will put you here with the women. Ibodonka. We'll find a very nice excuse for you to remain here. Watching the second example, Ikendo, you're just married. Where are we taking you, Uda? Because the first thing, many people mark into the first thing, there's so much passion, anything that you work. Where are we taking? What are you, these two kids, where are we taking them? How do we tell them their father is this and that? Does he explain it? They hear his voice, something happens inside their minds, inside their brains, not minds, inside their brains. So it becomes something interesting. The other point, I would really like to stress why now actually this guy is his European frame of thinking is seeping in, and you always have to catch it. This idea, and women are worth money, and this exchange as it goes in and out. Mano, we started that when we met the European, and he needed the cows before he could put us on money. I'll prove it. In the LUO system of governance, there are some positions. No, actually, no, will go through it at some time, but let me just mention it. So we see, okay, these are the people who are around Ruoth. Mokwongo, iluonge ni Nyikogu. Owacho kama. He has more or less the same functions as the Nyikogu of a king, Korogichako on a village. He's the custodian of the village, responsible for the distribution of food and beer to the people, killing of animals, and so on. He takes care of all things belonging to the chief, even his public funds, if there are any, and in charge of the chief's guests. He's also the spokesman of the chief. So, Magiwacho, the level of chief, but in that time, Negionge words for chief, Nemana Ruodi. So, Enma, or take care of the public funds. Makoro Jomaonge Goni, they would go to the public fund. And here, Emomio, it was not cows first, it was beads, which beads represented royalty. So what we are borrowing is the royalty of our seat, of the Ruoth. Kakani wachoni in Zulu. It is the king Mabomi the people food. It was the same all over the continent. No, these people under the king, they cannot marry. Who are they supposed to appeal to? Nyasai? No, they'll go to the Ruoth. And the Ruoth, Bowoyo kod Nyikogu. Nyikogu, bo go to the public funds. The public funds make the king walk kure. So this idea, the men, the fathers, were sitting and exchanging cows. Magi, these are very recent ideas. There were around the king. Around the king, there were quite a number of officials. Quite a number of officials man take care of the daily running of the court. So Abo rushed through them. Nikogu is in charge of the finance and the court and everything of the king. Nyitego. Nyitego. His work is to keep the village emblems, and he's said to be something of an inspector general of the village affairs. Nyikeno. Nyikeno was specifically there to prepare the royal court, the food in the royal court, and take care of the gardens, the royal gardens, and everything. Okay, people need food. People will come to the king to eat. Kaka telo nineno nineno with the Zulu. Nkwa they visit them, we will eat at the king, but the king's wives are not the ones who are cooking.
No.
This is that one. Man, he's the food. He's the one who feeds the society.
That's a queen. Macho bait most. You called
Ah,
maids.
kendo. Aya. Nyipor. Ntiemoro miluongo ni Nyipor. And more than the villages. Ntiemoro miluongo ni Nyatwel. And more, make sure there are tools, all the practical work is done. And Minister of Information and the Chief's Messenger or the King's Messenger, Chief of Politics and Prison. Nji jomoko matimre ni ok gidwa bet dhano. Nyaka migi discipline. Mano en. Mano ok en ruoth matimo tijno. Ok en ker matimo tijno. Eki realize no one system walwar. Ok mwacho gani. Nitie moro miluongo ni nyigol. Ma is responsible for the organization and distribution of food to the people. Morocha is supposed to make it there. Mane anangangiso there was somebody who was in charge of the pass, the bank. But en kaka ministry makoro ensure ni social services. People are okay. Nitie moro miluongo ni Nyimong. Nyimong is in charge of the age groups. Okay, the people exist in age groups. And in charge of that. Alafu nitie moro miluongo ni LUOP. LUOP is in charge of the young people and the army. Alafu nitie Karwang. Makoro miluongo ni Karwang. Ma is in charge of manokoro inyalo jijazia. Then in charge of what? So we realize Nutelo. 1 minute. He realized that is why we have a very cartoonish idea of Luo. The men were just sitting there waiting for their children to come. This cow is a very, very, very late thing to manage because of the European Nkechinodwarog. Before it was just spears and beads. This Natemo Kelo in the book Mana Chicha Debt, the first 5,000 years. And Muzungu, but one very important book. It was necessary everybody to be indebted to the king. Okay, the king represents the society. So we are indebted to ourselves. Emomio no wachoka samana somocha wachon this loan. Lamaka onyako ni kawe from this loan. It is a loan. But nkechoko okokete in the system the framework. On it is a loan to the father. It is not to the father. This girl belongs to the chair of Ruoth. This young man belongs to the chair of Ruoth. That Bedoguruoth is very important. Obosomo how he behaves. His conditions are so different. So different. Kata, even his daughters. The daughters of the Guinea have the hardest time. Or me example. Modingen, why we have a very cartoonish Guinea idea of Luo. Actually, the language of the king. Makoro Ker. Kikalungen Ker. Makoro Ramogi. Nikech Ker has come to mean something else. A king's character, as expressed in language, reminds one of the sky in Luo land. Either there is not the slightest wind, nothing but perfect calm and apparent serenity, or there is a full storm out of control swirling around raging. Furthermore, like in the Luo, like in Luo meteorology, calm weather is prevailing, storms occurring only periodically. So I mean, calm weather is always prevailing. Storms occur only periodically, but then with violence when they happen. A king's language is either silent, like a clear star-sprinkled night, or it patters and rattles on everything and everybody on earth. A king's language consists mainly of silence. A king listens. A king never argues with anybody. He is recording without comments until he has given his judgment, a judgment which is final and, of course, cannot be contradicted. A king, is the point, represents the people's mind. He is its brain center and stands for its reason. Therefore, a king never takes part in discussions and arguments. All this would engage him personally and would perhaps make him lose his mind and temper. A king should never be wrong. He is always to be in full intellectual control of a question and a discussion. This makes it necessary for him to view it from a distance, to wait before speaking. The king has the last word. This word has to be accepted by everyone as true. During discussions in the course of public hearings, the king therefore keeps silent and seems completely unconcerned with what happens around him. Occasionally, he may even talk with somebody else, give orders, go to the toilet, and so on, thereby clearly demonstrating that he is not engaged in the discussion. But everybody knows that the king is listening better than anyone else. He has registered every single word said during the hearing and may use it as an argument in his final judgment. If the king talks during a public hearing, he speaks slowly. This forces the people to be attentive to his words, to listen instead of talking loudly. The king prefers to repeat his words 2 or 3 times, thereby again increasing the effect of his speech. So Wawe Kanya. But in a very long passage about the king. So and very, 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 even the language most speak. Give an example of the language most speak. Even in the king's court, Piilu Ngonichak. It's a total George Abomiachon, we have to go deep. What we have is European idea of Luo. Formed completely. Those ideas, the cows, Magot, all that is just European thinking. In there's a minister of finance, minister of information. The same thing. And you never hear this. They never tell you about this. And how he is the brain of the society. To kind the brain of the society, they should bring all problems to him, even marriage issues. Jamok Nyal Kendo. So that the society Okubed interpreted to outsiders. Emomi Okombra Mogi had to fall. One indebted to outsiders completely. Okwan self-sustaining kakane wanti. My mamin kakawacho kata an, I'm a product of the supermarket. If my society cannot sustain me, Abo Kanyal sustain my society. I don't see the importance of it. So what amo mena mawuk China.
GK, when now it makes a lot of sense when you talk of in finishing, when you talk of this thing of Kiwa Sugar, we have got a very cartoonish idea of Luo. It makes a lot of sense, and I want to finish it in a very controversial tone. The problem, enemy, we have also assumed a scene whereby iwachoni jogi onego beni kelo ni problems kata ka ng'ato ok nyal nyombo ikelo nigi problems gi kang'o nikech Gingi system, gingi offices, different offices, ma they handle these things. Monego ben handle these things. Problem energy. That same cartoonish idea miwachono, it has been translated into leadership also. Egwenge wa the so-called jomonegori to gwengego. Okinyal tero ne problem nikech en gi problems mang'eny molo midwa tero ne ka. To ne en monego be no rito society. I told you over the last weekend a few things that I saw, stories I was told. It was fortunate that at least I witnessed a bit of what they were talking about. King Emerit of Uganda, King Nicod, how osot each and every. Okobi onge ka ng'at man gi kech bro biro ire to owacho ne nigi kech to ene men gi kech molonga mang'ise nigi kech. There is no way. The king doesn't even see those people. Okonegi. So that structure you are painting is true. Those people don't go to the king. The king sometimes doesn't even know that those people are there. They don't. Nikech the system is working. Mioma onwang konindo kechcha can never be taken to the king. Kori parade neir king ni ruoth ni kiango mae waido. No, the problem gets sorted by the people who are responsible for all those offices you've counted. Koro problem marwa en ni jo madibed no poni idwa decide ni koro ng'ani midhi nyiso problem nikech en possibly mkuru magweng or something. En gi problems moloyi, en emodwa ng'isi kaka pod en kech pok omadho chai. To in emidhi gere gi problem. That's why I said I want to finish in a very controversial, because these things are happening. We have to, if we can't self-sustain, Kakiwachucha, the king that I visited, that kingdom is self-sustaining. It is. The structure is very nice because again, structure is recognized by the government. It is in the government budget also because they made it to happen. So they made it deliberate. Or you can't just think no, they were deliberate. Their offices work. The various Jomikwanogo, all those people Mikwan. Jesus Christ.
Jogi olwari telo. One Ginyono
What?
ni waya. Ginyono ni waya. One
Yeah, and so I was just finishing Ramot. Kawachoni, what you've said makes a lot of sense in the sense ni Uganda should be self-sustaining. But you see the problem in in a controversial note. The problem enemy in our own scenario, ng'at midwa tero ne problems je man gi problems mang'eny moloyo. In idwa dhi ng'ise wach ni ng'ato oko kia wuoda pok onyombo, kia wadu. Ng'ano onge kata chai pok omadho. How do you start with a bigger problem to somebody who has got a smaller problem than you? Those are the realities. You know, like system moral works. That system manangisi chamana paint na it's working. I saw it. The king, kiakatan some of these things. Okinyal tero ne king koro the bedo gidhi parade ne nen mama ni was found Ken cage and all that. The king doesn't even know those things because the offices are working. Offices big kwanoka. They are working. They have been empowered to do what they are meant to do for the community, and they are working. So I agree with you 100% when you say we have a very cartoonish way of looking at Luo. The Komara Mugi no Podo. It's true. It's not there. So it's quite unfortunate. So what do we do? We had a plan yesterday. That's what we need to do. We need to rebuild.
Telo wadong go misleaders. Kiki wa iluongo jogi ni leaders. Ka go misleaders nikech nitie the opposite. Wan go misleaders kod brokers.
Mama Chano wacho ni we are in dangerous. We are in dangerous.
Wan go misleaders kod brokers.
Mane kaka
Kiwacho
nyaka
adier.
summarize. We are in dangerous. But JK kalure gi sa kora paro ni tieke.
An wawei aboduoko ni tieke. Awacho ni erokamano to the cultural champions for being here and listening. That is just a tidbit. That is what we mean. We need to go deep. We've not even Pokwadi deep. Luo is super deep. Pokwadi deep. Because the solutions are there. But more Bojunon Jiobed Luo, not Onage. Not just traditional. So Mano is what we are there for. Kakaramogi Cultural Institute, Wamigero Kamando for giving us this opportunity to sit and discuss these things and look at it and really see what is ahead, what has to be done, because we have to embrace what has to be done and the job that is ahead. So even the understanding of ourselves, our women, all this, so we can do it in a healthy, non-judgmental manner. Okay, we're just going through it and we'll find our way through it. But I'll go through the uncomfortable, narrow passages where we'll have to squeeze and slim the stomach to pass through. It will be a must. And so as we go through this, thank you for being here. Thank you for them too, for Ramogi Cultural Institute, for LUO Heritage Research and Education, for this opportunity that we can talk way about these things, look into these things, go deeper into these things, and at least heal ourselves from this emptiness, bed that is so foreign and induced, but has been placed on us. Becomes necessary for the healing. Have a wonderful weekend and next week, and the weekend relax a little from the challenges that you need to grow from. Just a little, and then we are back again to growing. So, erokamano onle waduok nigo kod LUO GIRL mondo ulore.
Erokamano JK, in bende watimo ni erokamano, we ok nyal wil kodi ni ikawo ga thuolo mar untwine for us. Nitie a number of things motwere, weche motwere. So you always take your time mondo item mondo igolnwa gi achiel kachiel mondo we understand them in a totally different way. We can't take it for granted. We really appreciate you. Kendo time ni mikawoga every time you are called upon to come and talk to Nyikwa Ramogi, our cultural champions who are also learning together with us. I know some might have heard these things, possibly are now hearing them better, clearer, from your pot of wisdom. LUO GIRL, go ne jogi oriti. Last word ka itige ne jogi oriti until next week.
Erokamano. I'd like to say we're very grateful ne thuolo mukawo mar bedo jowinjo magwa Ramoth over the past 7 weeks masebedo kasomo. There is a lot to unlearn, a few things to relearn, and a whole lot of things to learn. And the mind is a very open place where whatever you plant there is what grows. And right now I think interacting with you guys on matters culture is one amazing part of me. that he is going to grow into adulthood. So I am very grateful for your time, the analysis, how you bring out the discussions, and then kwa wasikilizaji, thank you so much. And for the Ramogi Cultural Institute for Luo Heritage Research and Education, we're grateful for the opportunity, the sponsors, fundi wa mitambo, and all the stakeholders. It's a great platform to get to know ourselves and, you know, learn our identity better. Otherwise, you people have a nice time.
Thank you, LUO GIRL. Thank you. We appreciate you. We appreciate your reading. We appreciate your input. We appreciate you as a LUO GIRL growing in the current generation, and very ready and eager to compare and contrast what the LUO GIRL of 1940s and 1950s looked like. It's a pleasure that you are so engrossed into it, and there is learning. Like you say, there's still lots more for all of us to learn. Thank you. We appreciate you. To you, our cultural champion, you're very special to us. You are the reason we do this. I always tell you, however much we have done, a bit of what we do every day for the purposes of nation building, we still make sure that a little deep into the night, we create time. And I think there are people we have always not, GK, if you're hearing me, and also the LUO GIRL, there are people we've always, and even the fundi wa mitambo, because these things we have got people who make sure that everything is perfectly running. I could talk, and I host some of these programs. I know very little about some of the things that go into these systems working. There are people working. There are people who always make sure even when we start, they are ready for mic test. They tell me your mic test. They give me a thumbs up. They tell, okay, we're waiting for GK. Then they give us a thumbs up. They say, okay, so all these people, I think sometimes they're in the background. And it's so important that we say thank you to them. And more so to our families. There are people who give us time. Zizi, Nelson Mandela's daughter, once was asked how she views her dad. The answer was profound. She said, and I quote, I have come to live with the fact that I'm not the only child of Nelson Mandela and other kids of the society. The whole country needs him. So I am alive to the fact that I must share him, and there is nothing I can do. So I'm willingly sharing him with the country. So I think our kids, our wives would always say that they're sharing us with the program, because we sometimes have to put in a lot of sacrifice to be able to make it run. But you know what? We're doing it with a lot of happiness. And we are so glad that we have people behind us who understand culture. And we thank you who is here, that you sometimes forgo what you might have wanted to do and just sit down and listen to us. Sometimes you may be juggling in between listening and doing something. You have a family to run, kids to attend to, wives to attend to, husbands to attend to. We don't take it for granted. We thank you so much. But as long as you are here, we shall always be there. for a girl like the young LUO girl to dedicate herself to this. This is culture. So many people look at it differently. But we are here. She is here. You are here. That's what's important. A very big thank you to Ramogi Cultural Institute for LUO research. LUO Heritage Research and Education for also sponsoring these programs and making sure they run. To the elders, to the managing director, and to the committee that makes sure that these things run, we thank you. Kokamano, in finishing, I just wanna, on Sunday, we have, we're not going to pretend and let it pass. This program is about family. This program is about culture, and a family is made of a man, a woman, and kids. You know how we feel about kids. You know how this program is about kids. You know how this program is about. We have a full program on a LUO man in the name of Luanda Magere, and also now we have transitioned it into a totally different, but now look, today we are talking about the LUO girl. We are a complete family oriented program. So on Sunday we shall have a special Father's Day broadcast. That's for Sunday. Tomorrow, what we are going to do tomorrow is a series to continue the series that we did last Wednesday. If you remember, beyond blame, what the recent school unrest is telling us. We have three parts to deal with. We dealt with the first part, we dealt with the students and the parents. It was so intriguing for those who are there. So tomorrow we'll do the second part, which is the school teachers, educators, are they under pressure? That's a question we shall answer tomorrow. And the fourth question is the Minister of Education, leadership beyond public statements. And then next week we shall finish with the last part, which is political leadership and governance. And the sixth one is the public. And we are describing this public. Is it the convenient spectator? It lumps all the problems on particular people. It stands outside the space and then points fingers. The public, the convenient, either teacher is wrong, or a government official is wrong, the president is wrong, the governor is wrong, the single parent is wrong, the child is wrong, but him, wherever he's standing, him or she, they are very right. They know what should have been done, but was not done. So that is the program, the lineup for the program for the weekend. I don't want to forget. I'm waiting. What is a bongo? It must come. It needs to come from you guys. Either you email it if you want to email it, or send us a text. Because I'm not seeing anyone who has sent. I'm checking the chat. Abongo. What does abongo mean? That needs to come from our cultural champions. You never know. It might even win a present, whoever gets it first. The first person to send it and get it right. Thank you so much. We are blessed to have had you here. GK, we wish you quick recovery. You're not 100% today. You're fluish. So wish you best of luck. Wuogi juogi omi gine moko kanyo inyam. Aor ni gine cha. Aor ni sniff cha. Kijir ndalo adek to orumo.
Iwacho no orna ng'o mondo anyam.
Sniff.
Kon ramo thumre yongeti gi yadh afunda.
Yeah.
Otama wacho na gini.
Dinonomi akete uma ajir for 5 minutes. Homeru of Luoru. Jazulu gitij gitek.
To telo.
Yeah.
Apenji.
Yeah.
Mano gine no wacha bongo no gibo gine obo gine kiny donko.
Ah.
Obo doke kiny.
Kapok wachako the other program to kiny nwadwok. It is the first thing you will handle.
Onge wacha.
Yeah. Okay.
Onge wacha.
All right. Thank you so much, guys. God bless. Nyasachra mugi obed kodu. Ubongo nyakalaga mayao piny kendo loro piny. Magolo chieng' kendo podho chieng' obed kodu. Awaua negi DJ aken oplan nwang'o but obro nyisowa. Eruru kamano. Eruru kamano nyaka kiny kuom jogo madhi nindo to jogo ma pod nie tich dhiuru mbele gi tich geruru piny. Eruru kamano.
Salongo nyinge nyagi beno pondo manyamina wo. Malisa lungo nyinge nyagi beno pondo manyamina wo. Amor kalungo nyinge nyar kindu karachonyo. Amor kalungo nyinge nyar kindu karachonyo. Belio somo Mombasa nyadundo mama. Belio somo Mombasa nyadundo mama. Kocha kopuonjne sikul wagwe to nyithindo pako. Kocha kopuonjne sikul wagwe to nyithindo pako. Oche uponje manyithindo ye kod chikege. Oche uponje manyithindo ye kod chikege. Belidhu maniba makiwinjo. Belidhu maniba makiwinjo nyadundo. Kanyako somo gimabera inyanyanga lori nyakindu. Kanyako somo gimabera inyanyanga lori nyakindu. Jomadhiyo Nairobi boro dhi mos na Berdina. Jomadhiyo Nairobi boro dhi mos na Berdina. Jokilo duto apako ika wapo inyagawo. Jokilo duto apako ika wapo inyagawo. Kumrako ero taworo ialis wapo inyagawo. rwako welo tabuoro ieris wakwo yenyagawo edala unyakindu anyago wadagi mitimo jopako edala unyakindu anyago wadagi mitimo jopako edala uanyango nyaduno rienyo wadakati chungsuna edala uanyango nyaduno rienyo wadakati chungsuna rienyo wadakati chumbita rienyo wadakati chumbita anyango wadakati chumaseno anyango wadakati chumaseno rienyo wadakati chumyabondo rienyo wadakati chumyabondo rienyo wadakati chungsuna rienyo wadakati chungsuna